Well, good evening, all. Ira Epstein with your financial market wrap-up, and this wrap-up is for Monday. And we are now at 7 p.m. Central Time on May 16th, 2022. First thing I'm looking at is the grain market, up another 11 cents in the wheat market. You know, India, and I mentioned this Sunday in my written updates, India has said they're not going to continue exporting wheat until they know their situation from the extreme heat and drought that they've just experienced, other than living up to contracts already in place. So if you want to go out and buy wheat, remember you've lost Ukraine. A lot of people don't want to buy Russian wheat. This is a tight market. You're $12 wheat. I mean, that's unbelievable for July wheat. The other grains coming down a little. Do you know why? Today we had the planting report, how far the farmers have gotten, and they're catching up. They are behind, but they are catching up like mad on the plantings. My guess is next week in corn will be very close to where we normally are. Beans are a weed, W-E-E-D. Once they get in the ground, they can go through an awful lot of stress and so on. They come back. So I'm not as worried about that being late, but you can't afford to be any later than you are in the corn. Otherwise, you start to hurt yields, especially if you have a drier summer. So you need the plant to get the roots going, everything getting there so it can absorb the moisture, and we need the moisture. On the energy markets, we had a good rally today in everything, including gasoline. Now, I've switched you here from heating oil to gasoline because I think it's time that we start watching that. And here you are, you're setting new all-time highs, and the summer's not even upon us. Remember that, the kids are still in school. Another thing now that I mentioned kids, are you watching that the auto plants in Detroit are starting to go back to making you wear masks? In Evanston, Illinois, which is right outside of Chicago, it's where Northwestern University is. It's a hop, skip, and a jump. The big high school there just announced the kids have to wear masks again. So again, COVID is picking up its head. It isn't yet to the point where the CDC has yet issued that you go into stores and everything, you'll do it. But once those guidelines come out, I know the cities will follow it, and we could all be back in the masks before you know what's going on. Which brings me to China. It's all tied together tonight. China, I've told you over and over that as soon as we hear that China is going to take the cities out of the COVID zero tolerance policy, either they stop the policy or they claim that the cases are down enough where they can do it, and that's what they've done. They said Shanghai, they've issued how the orders will work today. So starting tomorrow, actually starting, I think it's May 21st. I want to be right on that. I think it's the 21st of May, going until the end of June. In stages, the cities are reopening. Now, 31 cities as a total were shut down. I don't know how many are going to go through these stages. I don't know how many are fully open. It's hard to get all that information. I know that Beijing, everything I'm reading, is being treated as though they're in the COVID lockdown with the zero tolerance, but they don't want to say that, they being the Chinese government. They're enacting it. There are dormitories I read about. The kids can't get out of them in schools. They're completely gated in now. Neighborhood blocks. But instead of saying we're going to lock it in because of such negative publicity this is getting, people think this is not the right policy. I'm one of them. That there's a better way. It's called Western medicine in this particular case. This case. Not saying Chinese medicine is not good medicine. But I think our vaccines are doing a heck of a better job than is it theirs. Sinovac, if I'm correct, that seems to be what it is. But whatever the case, they announced this plan. That kicked up silver. Yeah, silver was up today, 60 cents or so. Gold came up sharply. The copper markets back up. Platinum market palladium market came alive on that news too. So these are the good things that are going on. And if we can get this back to normal, the question is how long? I'm fearful that you're seeing in places like Chicago and other cities like Detroit and so on, that the mask mandates are slowly coming back as this next wave is hitting, and that's in the springtime right now. What does that mean come the fall when we all go back indoors in the latter part of fall? I don't know what it means. So it's things we have to think about, which could be back to the lockdown of the Chinese cities. There's a window here. You got to be careful of it. In the S&P, here we are. It's the opening of day 2, Tuesday. We're down 0.37 at this point for the week. When you take a look at the chart action, you still have the wave to the downside. Nothing has changed. You still have the pattern of lower highs, lower lows, the definition of a bear market. The market is underneath the 18-day average of closes where I define bias as down. Close over that number, and I have upside bias. Be under it, I have downside. It's really that simple. It is a filter on the swing line. I teach this in my charting course. Then in the Bollinger Bands, you had run the downside of the Bollinger Band, and all of a sudden you've pumped over to the right-hand side, and in the process you had an embedded reading. I want to show you this. Let's count days. Both numbers were not under 20. Day 1 of last week, both under 20. Day 2 on Wednesday, both under 20. Day 3 on Thursday, both under 20. You lost that reading on Friday. When you get one of the numbers to close over 21, to me it is a sign that the market has lost its downside momentum, and the target for it is the 18-day average of closes. The only time you can get back the reading of embedding is the day after you lose it. So if it loses it on a Friday, the only day you can get it back is Monday, and it did not do so. So my guess, and that's what charting is a sophisticated guess, is that price and the 18-day average are going to make a run at each other before this low is taken out. Does that mean the trend is changing? No. Under the current formation, you'd have to take out this high to break it. So far, I'm looking for a market in a bear market bounce and no more than that, but it could be a nasty one. It's a good thing to stand out of the way of. I've got the same predicament that just developed in the NASDAQ. If you take a look at the high back here, this high was 12,553. Excuse me there. The market got up to 12,499, slipping back, hasn't taken it out. So that number isn't taken out. So you're still in a bear move. Take that out, you negate the swing line down, and you've lost the momentum, and the 18-day average of closes becomes the target. You lost it in the Dow all at one time. Target right up here. But this isn't a trending market. You have a higher high and lower and low. This was one heck of a straight down break. And in the Russell, just like that, you have the higher high and lower low. But you lost the embedded reading. So in summation, I have readings that were lost calling for a rally to the 18-day average of closes in the VIX, which will come up right here. I should have called that ahead of time. You never had the embedded reading. You're just in a trend down. Lower highs, lower lows, target range, these three moving averages. You'd have to get up over this high, that arrow, in order to negate this downtrend. And obviously the bias is down as you're under the 18-day average. In the bond market, you're very neutral. You're just hanging here day after day in a sideways pattern against the 18-day average of closes. You've got fairly narrow Bollinger Bands, but they're so far, because you've only attacked the lower band, market's not even trying the upper band. It seems to be it's stuck between the lower and the 18-day average of closes. It's a little different, but not completely so in the 10-year note. Again, it hasn't hit the upper band. It keeps hitting the lower band and getting stuck here at this number. The bias is trying to change ever so slightly to get up to that number, but even if it does it, it's in an overbought condition. And in your wildest fundamental dream, do you think that even if it gets up there, the Fed's not going to raise interest rates in June and July? Tell me what has changed where they should do that. Are you looking at what's happening with food inflation? It's in a runaway mode. Does it look to you as though energy prices are falling? They can't change that, but they look at the whole package. Now, I will tell you something that came out today very negative. Did you see the New York Fed region industrial activity? It got really ugly. It's a volatile number. I don't know if one time makes a trend, but if the next one comes out this way, yeah, you're starting a trend and it's downward. So you've got to keep your eye on that. In the dollar index, you also lost your embedded reading. Take a look. The market kept it on Friday. This is rather today. And on the opening, right now, it's losing it. That's what I thought was going to happen. I said that in the metal update. And here you are. Don't get stochasticitis. Make the market prove it can stay lost. But if it does, the odds favor you're going to go to 103.42.5. If it does, it's way too soon in the evening to know that. I'd rather look at the eurocurrency, and it's flipping itself out, losing it. Okay, two things are saying maybe the market wants to lose the embedded reading. The British pound lost the reading. Here you go. That's the close today. It lost it. So I had written my clients, because this morning I was telling them to be short, had a sell in there, didn't like it at the end of the day. I said, out you go. And I rarely put out a day trade. The trade was wrong. Not a big trade. 30 points, 40 points, something of that nature. Something very, very reasonable. But now the momentum could be shifting to the 18-day average. That would be a big loss. And my work is saying, hey, the odds favor that you've lost that reading. Bitcoin is still in trouble, but just the same thinking. You lost the embedded reading on Friday. Do you see how this number's 2274? Both numbers had been going sideways. So if you take my course, it's a sign that the odds favor now that even though you're meandering here, price wants to reach the 18-day average before it takes out 25,350. It's a sign. It's not gospel. It's a sign. Let's see if that works out. Then we get to the differential between Brent and WTI. They were commenting today, I saw it too, that the differential had narrowed in intraday to $1. I mean, when's the last time we saw anything like that? Right now it's hanging around $2.50. And here's what you've done. You've really gone to upper band, lower band, back to the upper band, going nowhere in that process so far. Upper band, lower band, upper band in WTI. You've stayed over in gasoline, the 18-day average, and you're just now embedding. Now get ready for this. You had been embedded all back here. I had you playing the heating oil. This was a play too, but there's only so much risk I can have you take. Being a subscriber, a paid one. And the market, this was the same play as the heating oil. You've lost the reading, but all of a sudden, starting, not here, not Thursday, Friday, both numbers back over 80. Today, Monday, both over 80, and it's following through. Will we get 3 days in a row? If so, the program begins again. There's a way to come in on breaks. I teach it in my enhanced Bollinger Band course. Buy the course if you want to know how, and where's your stop. Natural gas, I'm switching over to the July. The trend is up. There's about 15 tankers due to land this month in Europe. We are going to produce in the Permian Basin and other areas record amount of oil, and natural gas is coming on huge. We need better pipelines. You're hearing that from the oil industry on. We have one. It's called the Keystone. We shut it down. It's ready to go. It's built. Turn the darn thing on. You're never going to get to all the infrastructure of what you need on the others to address today's problem. It's so simple. It's right there. The hell with the politics. Save the economy and stop the crazy inflation that's going on everywhere. These are ways to do it. You can't change the greening of the world, my friends. If we don't do this, somebody else will with these prices. More producers are going to come on. They're going to do whatever. And the simple fact of life is we got to find the way to get renewable energy sources in place quickly so that we don't rely on all this. There's no doubt. Wind, solar, it's staring us in the face. Let's get those programs. Let's find a way to make these affordable, make them work. I know they work because I drove from here to California, 3 weeks ago now, and I saw windmills, so many of them. They're out there. But what about offshore? Why aren't we doing more of those? I mean, they're there. I'm not running for office, but it's just evident and it's staring us all in the face. It has to be balanced. I realize that. I'm not that good. I don't know how to do that. But what I do know how to do is offer you all my information on what I write. Monday through Friday, 2 updates. One comes out about 11:30, 12 o'clock in the morning. The other one comes out approximately 7:30, 8 o'clock at night. I'm going to cover the next day's activity for what reports are coming out. What are you looking at there? Then I balance this because in the morning I put out my morning futures video first. I recorded 5:30 approximately, and I'm bringing you up to date with what's going on in Asia, Europe, and then we go into the charts. And every trade that I see, I'm bringing up. I'm showing you the chart action, why I think it's there. Remember what you're getting here for free. This is me with this hand intentionally behind my back. You're not getting all the indicators. They look much more like what you're seeing here, and I'll bring them. I talk right through, give you the reasons, and then you make up your decisions what you want to do. I don't want to be placing orders for you, but you get another source, you get another pair of eyes on all this. And yes, you can get this for the spiders and the futures. To get my free research, it's simple. Go to our website under free offers, or just take your cursor, move it up right here to the top, especially if you're on a computer screen. I don't think it'll work on your phone, but do it there. And all of a sudden you'll see the icon, click it, fill out the info, we'll take it the rest of the way. I'm Ira Epstein. Going to be an interesting day tomorrow. Is it going to be Tuesday reversals? Could be, but the stock market didn't move very much, so I'm not seeing what they'd be reversing. I'm Ira Epstein. Have a good one.